Dave Burkett here, along with Carlos Menares, without the third wheel, Sean Windsor, back for our annual weekend, or typical, or weekly weekend prediction of the Lions game. Annual, man. We went long last time, Carlos, and we had some video troubles, I guess, technical difficulties. Ended up getting the video up. Tip of the cap to Marlo Alter for that. But we got to keep them short from now on. So prediction, and then we're done. Wrap real quick.
Real quick. Lions win. That's it. All right.
See ya. Thanks for joining us. Freak.com. No. And we're shooting this a little bit later in the day on a Friday. So I'm sorry. I was out celebrating the Dodgers World Series still. Still, yeah. Still can't believe it. Justin Turner got COVID from him, but it's all good.
You're gonna have to wait till Sunday to read my column about how I was not happy with Justin Turner, Dave.
That's an alum, right, Carlos? I mean, yeah.
Fellow Titan great. Justin Turner. I was very, very doubly disappointed because he's a Dodger and a Fullerton Titan. So
well, you say fellow great. I mean, you are greater than he is. So I don't know if you can.
We're pretty close. We're right around there.
All right.
$64 million contract, World Series ring. Yeah.
Right. No, I mean, you got a long-term deal too, so it's good. He's got a better beard.
Get out of it.
But, yeah, he's got the beard. So, look, I know everyone likes our witty banter here to start our videos and everything, but we do have to make these quick because we want to take things easy on the guys in the office and make sure that they're able to upload this before the game. Don't want to have to wait for our predictions until next week's game. So, before we throw scores out, any thoughts on the Everson Griffen trade? I mean, the Lions, they went out, they added a defensive end this week. He's not going to play this weekend, obviously against the Indianapolis Colts, but should be on the field the rest of the way. I think it's a move that, I don't think it's going to win them the Super Bowl or probably win them any games, but I view it as they got a veteran pass rusher, number 3 defensive end, some good insurance. And then, hey, I know right now they don't have a 6th or 7th round pick next year's draft, but they did add Jonathan Williams on Friday, signed him off Washington's practice squad. So maybe there's another deal coming where they can add a late round pick. So I like it. I don't know that it wins them a lot, but I think it's good insurance. I think it's, good for them to go for it.
Yeah, I think you did a good job breaking it down, like what it means and why they got them and the versatility that Patricia covets and all that stuff. I think was it last year where they were a little banged up on the defensive line? You can never really have enough defensive line rushers, and they like to mix people in and all these sub packages, and it allows maybe to do different things with Trey Flowers a little bit more. There's a lot of little components that having more guys in there. And he's from all accounts, he's a team guy. I hope that they sell tickets to the Adrian Peterson, Everson Griffen wrestling matches, that maybe for charity or something, and put him in a kiddie pool with Chinese food and see what happens. So it should be fun. He should be a good addition to the locker room. Low cost. They're trending in the right direction. That defense needs help. So yeah, I mean, obviously, I think that's a good move for them. It should help. And I don't know if it's going to, like you said, so is it the missing piece of the Super Bowl? Probably not, but it should help a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's sort of like every position, right? You need to have depth, because what if something happens 2 weeks from now? At least you got some backup now after losing Julian Okwara. So I like the move. But as I said, he's not going to play this week against the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts have a really good defense. Go ahead.
Who does he play next week?
Next week against his old team. I mean, look, it's like Minnesota reunion. Adrian Peterson, J-Ron Kearse, Everson Griffen. There's a whole bunch of ex-Vikings playing for this Lions team now. So it'll be never underestimate that, I guess, right? When a guy plays against his old team for the first time, there's a little something inside him, no doubt.
Absolutely, yeah.
So again, Indianapolis Colts this week. Look, we've talked about this for the last couple of weeks, right? The one above 500 team in this stretch of games here between now and the end of November. And, I think the Colts are a lot like the Lions. I mean, not, in terms of their makeup on the roster, but in terms of who they are.
You said that about the Falcons last week, didn't you?
No. Well, no, I thought the Falcons were constructed like the Lions, and that they had a really good offense, some questions on defense. The way they had, were similar in terms of their late game collapses. I think the Colts are a similar team to the Lions in the fact that, they're a mediocre team, right? They're not really good. They're not bad, But, you don't look at the Indianapolis Colts and say this is a 12-win team and they're going to win their division. And no, they're a team that if they catch the right breaks, they're going to win 9 or 10 games and compete for a playoff spot. And, we've seen so far they have a nice defense. The offense has been a little iffy. Phillip Rivers still looks pretty ancient, and that running game last in the league in yards per carry. But, they're forcing turnovers. They're keeping games, they're playing the way they need to, winning with their lines on both sides of the ball. So I think they're like the Lions in that regard. And that's why I think this is another toss-up of a game.
Yeah, I think that, you always kind of worry about, like, they do have an elite defense. You really worry about that. When one team does something really, really well, that's a big advantage. But I think the offense under Rivers, they've turned over the ball too, so the Lions are showing that they're getting to be a little bit more opportunistic about creating turnovers. The Romeo Quara, forced fumbles, or Trey Flowers, interceptions. I know you're a big fan of Amani Oruwariye, so they're being opportunistic. And I think Rivers, he turns 39 in December. He looks slower than slow, holds the ball a little long now. Doesn't quite have the arm strength. Of course, we said all this about Drew Brees.
Yeah.
But I think Rivers has not looked as good. I think he's a stopgap. They're going to have to do something about that position probably next year. So, I think this tilts in the Lions' favor slightly.
Look, I as much as I like to disagree with you, Carlos, I'm going to agree with you here. Maybe you'll be surprised, but my pick I picked the Lions to win this game 23-20. I think a lot like Atlanta last week, that it's going to be a fairly close game. Just because, again, I think these teams are similar enough. They're both, they both have their different strengths, right? Like I think the Lions, they'll be able to move the ball a little bit. We'll see if they can get in the end zone. There's probably not going to be any big plays against this defense, and certainly, the Colts have a couple game records on defense. Darius Leonard, really good linebacker, and obviously they got some power up front. So it's something that the DeForest Buckner trade. So this is not a game that I see the Lions running away with, and I don't think the Colts are capable of running away with the game because of their offense. So kind of like last week, I think this is coming down to the end, and that's why I said Lions 23, Colts 20.
Well, and that's the thing. The Colts are also, they're 4-2. And in those losses, the defense has come up with them. I think the defense came up with kind of for like 10 points, I think, in one of the losses. So they know how to, the other side, so the offense turns the ball over when the defense is opportunistic on the other side. That can be their Achilles heel. You said 23-20, right?
23-20, bunch of field goals is kind of what I see.
I see it completely different. I see the Lions winning 24-20, Dave. So
yeah.
Are you reading my picks? Are you breaking into my email?
I filed mine this morning. When'd you file yours?
All right, I filed mine around 3:00. So
yeah, no, it happens there. No,
that must be the line. That's got to be the line, right? 3 points. 3.5, 2.5.
3.5. Yeah, right in between us. No, I mean, look, the other thing I wanted to say about this is because the Lions have caught a lot of flack, and deservedly so, I think, on some level, for losing to good teams and beating Jacksonville and Atlanta and these one-win teams. Atlanta won the other night, but it's the exact same thing with Indy. That's why I think they're similar too. You look at their schedule. Yeah. They played Cleveland, but they played Jacksonville, who they lost to. They lost to week 1. They played Cincinnati. They played a lot of those bottom feeding teams too. So in fact, the combined record of their opponents is much worse than the combined record of the Lions opponents. So from that standpoint, I think the Colts are a good team. I don't think anyone should take anything away from the Lions if they win, but this isn't the same as beating Green Bay or New Orleans or Tennessee later in the year, Tampa, if and when those games come around. I'll give you the final word here.
Well, I have 2 quick questions for you. The Lions are allowing some 500 family and friends at this game. Will that make any difference? And 2, because I let you, when you do the conference calls, you like to ask 2 or 3 follow-ups in the same question. So I'll give you a follow-up here. Is I put up a poll last week about who should be the Lions starting running back, and Jason Cabinda got more votes than Kerryon Johnson. What is behind the Kerryon Johnson hate? So explain the fans and Kerryon Johnson.
Well, did Patricia give you a friends and family ticket? I don't know. Are you? No.
I'm a VIP. I'll
Yeah.
have my own
Okay.
seat.
Okay. All right. No problem then. Yeah. No. Look, 500 fans. You're right. It's just friends and family, so there's no paid attendance, and it's weird because if you go back to the Arizona game, they had about 750 friends and family in the crowd there. It was really. I mean, it's better to have fans than not, right? Even if it's there's not going to be much crowd noise. It's not like they're going to be forcing the other team to jump because they can't hear the signals, but talking to Romeo Okwara after that game, he was like, it was weird. You couldn't really tell, you couldn't really hear him, but it was still good to have him there. And I think that's the bottom line with it all, is that it's good that they're having some fans in the stadium, some friends in the, there's 60,000 seats. So to have 500 of them taken up by fans, I think that's manageable, right? As for the carry-on hate, I don't get it. Look, Carry-On, I like Carry-On, right? I mean, he's a great guy to talk to. I mean, I think he's pretty roundly liked in the locker room. I don't know why fans, probably what it comes down to is he was drafted in the second round and people were like, oh, why use a second round pick on a running back? And then the knee injuries. So he, as hot as he started, maybe he didn't quite live up to these expectations that people had after the first 8 games of his career through no fault of his own. I mean, he's been dealing with those injuries. I mentioned earlier, though, the Lions signed Jonathan Williams off Washington's practice squad, and that just has me wondering what they're doing at the running back position. I mean, trade deadline is next Tuesday. DeAndre Swift and Adrian Peterson, lock those 2 into spots, right? You don't need 5 running backs. Bo Scarborough came back last week, hasn't played. You still have Carry-On, Jonathan Williams. That's 3 running backs. You keep 3 active a game. So I don't know. Maybe there's something going on with Scarborough's knee again. Maybe the Lions have somebody that they think would take Carry-On and give them a late round pick back. I don't know that. I'm just, speculating here, but I think Carry-On, some of the little things that he does, the blocking, I mean, those things are valuable to a team. And I've always thought that maybe they're a little more valuable to the Lions than they would be to somebody else. But hey, maybe there's a team out there that covets that, or maybe, like I said, Bo Scarborough, we haven't seen him play yet. He's got an injury history, so maybe there's a little something there that the Lions want to protect themselves from. But either way, they're heavy, or they will be heavy at the running back position once Jonathan Williams counts towards the roster. Interesting.
You're saying Carry-On Johnson, Kelly Golladay to the New York Giants for a 7th round pick, is it? Block.
6 with the chance to be a 5.
Let me ask you something. Well, I'm
Golladay
sorry.
Trade. Not happening, by the way. Kenny Golladay staying in Detroit because they're going to franchise him if they don't get it.
You had a great point in your mailbag about that, and I wanted to ask you a quick question about that. Was, when, like you said, a lot of teams are always reaching out, whatever. Is there a chance that because of all the stuff we talked about with Kenny Golladay and unhappy with his contract situation and everything, is there a chance that the Lions had really started off awfully 0-5 or something like that? There was the potential, like, we'll trade Kenny. Like if he's being disgruntled and we can't come to an agreement, we're 0-5. It's time to dump some assets, get some, because we don't know when the Giants supposedly talked to Lions, but it could have been early, could have been, the beginning of the season. Is there a chance that was possible, do you think? Wouldn't be bad, I don't think.
Yeah. Never say never, right? But I think it's probably a non-zero chance or something like that they would have considered. I mean, because again, whoever your quarterback is, Matthew Stafford, we saw the first 2 games what the offense looked like without Kenny Golladay, or a young guy that you want to build around. You need somebody to throw the ball to. And Kenny's still young enough. He's good enough. He makes these contested throws, right? I mean, it's not like Kenny's always open, but he just outmans people for the ball, right? Like that's
best since Calvin Johnson, easy.
Yes. Yeah. That a quarterback can really, he can make a quarterback look good because quarterbacks can throw the ball into no window and Kenny's still going to come down with it. So I find it hard to believe that the Lions would have traded him. And also because, this is not the Golden Tate situation. I had somebody bring that up to me, a month and a half ago, but totally different because Golden Tate, yes, he was in the last year of his contract like Golladay, but the Lions were done with him, right? They weren't going to bring him back once he turned down their contract offer. Whereas Golladay is the type of player that you franchise. He's worth that money. So the Lions still, even though Kenny Golladay is not technically under contract, the Lions still control him for 2021. So they're not ready to dump that asset yet. So I don't see that as a viable move for this team at all. Again, never say never, right? Somebody wants to come, and the Giants, they're going to be picking in the top 5. They want to give you a top 5 pick for Kenny Golladay, and you happen to be 3-4, I mean, that's a move that you really got to consider, right? But short of that gone off in the wind scenario, it's just not. I can't see anything like that happening in Detroit.
And the only thing I ever think about that is because we don't really know how far apart they are. There's a chance that they are so far apart in their numbers, and like, yeah, you can franchise them, but if you feel like we're never going to get to the right, I mean, look at like Ziggy Ansah, right? We're never going to get close enough, and Kenny he's 27, right? So he's not a spring chicken exactly. If he plays next year on the franchise, tag, he's 28, and then he's 29 the year,
His birthday's coming up, right? Is that right?
He's turning 28.
I think that's right. Or no, he's about to turn 27, if I'm not mistaken.
About to turn 27. Yeah, 26, turning 27.
Lions media guy right here. Let's see if we have his birthday while I'm talking. But no, I think you're right that birthday.
If
whatever, who knows? Anyways,
and I think like the Ziggy Ansah is a good point, a good comparison, because they were so far apart on their number that they franchised him, and he wasn't causing problems. He wasn't saying anything on social media.
didn't we
he
talk
was saying
about
the right things.
He's not causing problems. No, look.
Well, he's not.
No, but
he's not exactly Mr. Good Boy Scout soldier,
No, look, again, I don't know exactly where the numbers are, but the franchise tag that teams are using, $15.5 million, right? We talked about this the other day. 2 franchise tags is just over $17 million. Like, that's less than the receivers that signed contracts before the pandemic. Even Keenan Allen, who did during the pandemic, I believe his came, but Amari Cooper, all these guys, right? That's a couple $1 million a year less than they're making on their deals annually. So to me, as an NFL team, if I'm running that team, you got control over Kenny Golladay for 2 years at a good price. And at that point, sure, maybe he's approaching 30 then, and maybe then you're not going to sign him to that big money long-term deal. But I don't know that, again, if I'm a team, I don't think I would be looking to trade him because of where he's at in this point of his career and what he's doing on the field and the relative value that I think, his contract could present at a franchise tag number.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, there'd really be no reason to get rid of him, make it work, find a way.
All right. We'll leave it at that because we're probably going to have our editors mad at us again because we probably
your fault.
Even though we said we weren't going to. But there you go. We both have the Lions beating the Indianapolis Colts this week. And hey, they do that. All of a sudden, 4-3, they're above 500. And
5-2.
Maybe next week we'll have to really look at some potential playoff scenarios for this team. Wow. Who would have thought?
It could be 5-2.
Who would have thought we'd be talking about? I'm just ignoring you when you say those things now. Who would have thought we'd be talking about that a couple of months ago? So that'll do it for us. Enjoy the game if you're fortunate enough to be there. And if not, hopefully you're watching on TV and reading us at freak.com. That'll do it for Carlos Menares. I'm Dave Burkett, freak.com.